Well, two unions are rejecting Eskom's 1.5% wage increase offer. They're demanding 15%. Unions are also accusing Eskom and the board of spreading lies. NUMSA and the NUM briefed the media about their discussions a little earlier. Khayelihle Khumalo was there. He joins us now live. So unions rejecting that 1.5%. What's Eskom saying?
Well, that's right, Shahan. So they are saying they're not accepting that 1.5%. We believe that's an offer that has been tabled by Eskom. So they remain quite steadfast in their demand for 15% and other benefits as well. But they've made quite a number of allegations against the parastatal, including the fact that they are negotiating in bad faith. But joining us now is, of course, Eskom's Sekonatsi Manchanja. So, sir, thank you so much indeed for your time. So, quite a number of allegations against Eskom. Maybe just to clear the way, are you negotiating in bad faith?
Eskom has absolutely been negotiating in good faith, starting from day one when we had to listen to their demands, and the unions have put their demands on the table, and Eskom has been there sending its properly empowered delegation to engage in the talks and make Eskom's position very clear and offer, and we have done that. So absolutely with all the information that can be made available to our labour partners and indeed to the people of South Africa, we have been able to conduct these negotiations for the past 6 days, totally in good faith, in the best interests of the employees themselves, in the best interests of the organization, and indeed in the best interests of the people of South Africa, who in the end will pay for any settlement that has been reached in these wage talks.
And what can you say to your consumers, the electricity users who might be very concerned about the current situation with, of course, the uncertainty? Because previously we've seen, the allegations of sabotage in terms of your essential infrastructure, where we've seen constant load shedding. So how do you assure consumers?
The first thing to make very clear, Kaya, at this point, during these rounds of wage talks, we have not seen any evidence of any sabotage or any improper action by any of our employees. So let's just rest that. Eskom has been having the problems that are well known of load shedding, and they are not linked to any action that is resulting on these wage talks. We just need to be making that clear. And obviously, as we have been telling the people of South Africa for close on 2 years now, that Eskom is in the middle of a reliability maintenance program during which there will still be load shedding, and we hope that towards the end of this year, the occurrence of load shedding will be elevated. So at this point, the operations are running as normal, and Eskom has done everything that it can to safeguard its assets and to make sure that we run through this without any disturbances. And of course, we call on all our partners, the labour partners indeed, and the employees, to do everything that is possible in the best interests of the company, in the best interests of the people who consume this electricity and keep Eskom running, and these are the people of South Africa, and all of us to put the rule of law first.
And just once again, sir, maybe just a side issue, not a core issue, an allegation that you might have allegedly misrepresented the salary scale of some of the workers at Eskom. Of course, this is an allegation that has been made by NUMSA and NUM. What would be your response?
Let me repeat this. The published financial statements of Eskom for the year ended March 2020 shows that Eskom paid almost 33 billion rands in benefits and wages to all employees. There are 30,000 employees in the bargaining unit, which the wage talks are all about.
And just once again, the issue around the cost. So the unions, again, putting the allegations that the issue around the coal supply, it's always been shrouded in secrecy in terms of the people benefiting there, but also another element of the renewable energy and some of the suppliers for the power utility. What is Eskom's positions? Because this is not a new argument. From time to time, it always surfaces.
I love that you mentioned that it always services. Anyone that has been in this country, I don't know for how long, knows that every tender, every contract at Eskom is a competitive one. It's put to everybody, and Eskom will take the most competitive of tenders, and price plays the main part there. It goes for the lowest possible cost, of course, with all the attendant issues. All the contracts are public material. They have gone through a vigorous tender document where all the winners go through that scrutiny and then get chosen. We have, by law, Eskom publishes every year the cost of fuel, primary fuel, which is coal, and the people of South Africa know what that is, so that's just one thing. None of those get shrouded in secrecy. We have, of course, as you only know too well, that we've got quite we're coming from an age of massive corruption within Eskom, where a lot of investigations are ongoing. Eskom itself has laid criminal charges against its own employees who may have played roles in defrauding the people of South Africa through inflated contracts, both in coal and in everything else, the procurement that it does. The law enforcement agencies have those more than 110 cases laid by the management of Eskom, and we are waiting for arrests on those. In addition, you have seen activity from the Asset Forfeiture Unit. You have seen not much activity from the National Prosecuting Authority and from the police, where arrests should come from on people accused of corruption, including suppliers, current and former employees of Eskom. That's what this management team is doing and has been doing to clean up the corruption that our labor partners, correctly so, are crying about.
And also, just now coming back to the issue of the negotiations, at this point, what's the nature of the negotiations? Is Eskom keenly, looking at this particular issue, perhaps looking at revising the 1.5%, but what's the nature of the talks?
Eskom has tabled an offer for an increase in the basic salary of 1.5%. And that is conditional on the labor unions accepting some conditions that will change some of the benefits where there are excesses that employees currently enjoy. That will cost Eskom around 350 million rands per year, the 1.5% increase, if accepted. And we might, from some of the excessive benefits that our colleagues enjoy, we might be able to reduce those costs by about 300 million rand in order to be able to pay for the increase that has been offered. The demand, of course, is 15% at the top from two of the labor unions and 9.5% from Solidarity. The reality of the matter is Eskom has rejected those as being unaffordable. They totally are unaffordable, and our colleagues, of course, in the labor partners have put further demands to increase other benefits. An example is an increase in the housing allowance, which currently stands at 3,450 rand to 7,000 rands. They have made other demands, including a maternity benefit, a fully paid maternity benefit of 6 months. Currently, Eskom pays a maternity benefit of 5 months fully, and on the 6 months pays you 30% of your pay. So we are not, as Eskom, able to meet these demands. The people of South Africa are keeping this organization running, we may say involuntarily so, through the cash bailouts that have been forwarded by the government. That is what has kept Eskom's ongoing concern. And we are not in a position to be increasing the wages, certainly not to the extent demanded. We have clearly, again, transparently over the years reported the financial situation of Eskom, starting with debt that now stands at about 462 billion rand, outstanding debt, that our own operations do not generate enough cash to pay for. over the past 3 to 4 years, and indeed longer, Eskom has been making financial losses north of 15 billion rand. We will report when the audited results come out for the year ended March 2021, anything at 20 billion rand loss, coming on to last year's 20 billion rand and the previous year's 15 billion rand. Clearly, that shows everybody and anyone that really cares that there is no money to afford these changes that are demanded.
And maybe just before I let you go, sir, I mean, it's quite cold. We know that you suspended load shedding, but what can you say to South Africans, just to once again reassure them that the current situation at least will remain for now? So how's the grid doing?
Kaya, I wish I could tell the people there will be no problems with electricity supply. That's unfortunately not the position we can be in. We have, over the past 2 years, informed the people of South Africa to expect elevated occurrence of load shedding until at least later this year, when much of the reliability maintenance has been concluded. The reality now, being winter, is that demand is naturally higher, so the risk of load shedding has increased even further. We are doing everything that we can to reduce the occurrence of load shedding, but the reality is we will be coming back to the people of South Africa again to request their assistance to reduce the usage of electricity, and of course there will be occasions throughout this winter where we will be forced to implement load shedding. We are able to supply currently 32,000 megawatts of electricity. In January we were only at 28,000. So the maintenance that Eskom has conducted over the past few months, and indeed since the middle of last year, has been able to return close or just over 4,000 megawatts to increase the capacity available, which is why we still have the lights on at this point without load shedding. But it would not be true to say there will be no load shedding. There certainly will be occasions when we will announce load shedding.
And just once again, for clarity's sake, when are the talks going to resume for the salary?
The talks are still ongoing at this point. Today is the last day on the second round. We are having the talks again. They were scheduled to go on 3 different rounds, starting starting in the first week of May. And we had this round now the last 4 days. We have 4 more days to go up until the 3rd of June. So today is the last day in the second round. We will come back again during at the end of May, and that will take us to the 3rd of June. That is if the parties still see any reason to continue negotiating beyond this point.
All right, Mr. Manchangche, thank you so much indeed, sir, for that comprehensive interview. Obviously quite a monumental challenge facing Eskom. They sit with a debt of over 400 billion rand, but obviously, of course, the unions are demanding that 15% so far. It's 1.5% that they've presented, of course, with other benefits as well. But most importantly, a lot of South Africans will be keenly waiting for these negotiations really to see the outcome, because Eskom is a very special organization. It has a very critical role. In fact, the rating agencies as well from time to time do observe the developments in terms of the sovereign debt, among other issues.